Ramiro Marota.
And I'm Julie.
Tonight, in History Treasure, we're going to have two very special guests.
Nowadays, there are a variety of different economic systems. For example, capitalism and socialism.
Capitalism is all about efficiency.
In Marx's term, capitalism is an economic system that is based on the private ownership of the means of production. This means that the society is formed by the few people who own shops, businesses, and other corporations.
Corporations are owned by workers, or jointly by workers and owners together.
Capitalism has received a lot of criticism throughout the years. For example, it allows and even encourages inequality in a society.
Capitalism allows some people to get rich, but others to get poor. Capitalism allows products to be produced even if they are not in the public good.
For example, it allows cars that have very low gas mileage to be produced even though they can help cause global warming.
Unregulated capitalism allows for things like the Great Depression and the financial crisis of last year because it doesn't prevent businesses from acting in destructive ways.
A critical flaw of capitalism is the idea of making profit and money as the definition of identity.
Technology today typically requires huge investments in capital. This has resulted in a very small number of people to have control over the productive resources of the entire society.
Such concentration of power in the hands of few tends to corrupt them, who may misuse their power against the best interest of people in the form of monopolistic business practice.
Employees have limited motivation to put in their best to the work they do. In this way, their capabilities are used much below their potential.
This results in the inefficient use of human resources, in addition to reducing the satisfaction people derive from their work.
Hello everybody, I am Karl Marx and this is my theory. The first thing you need to know to understand my theory is money. It is all about money. Then, this is a conflict theory because there is a conflict between the rich and the poor and there is a conflict in the society. I want revolution and I think that revolution is the key here. First of all, it is in three different aspects. The first one is the capitalist, which are the rich, but they are the minority. They use the state to oppress a majority, which is the workers or the proletariat. Then, what they do, the workers, is that they turn it around and they are the majority, so they use the state to oppress the capitalists. This is in three different stages. The first stage is called capitalism. The capitalists take the power from the higher power, which is the state, and they establish three different rules, which is the equality, free trade, and private property. Then, the second stage is called the proletariat dictatorship, in which the workers do the exact same thing that the capitalists do, but to the capitalists. They take the capitalist power and use it for themselves. This is called the proletariat dictatorship, in which after finally comes the third stage, which is socialism. Socialism is the key for a utopian country, and the workers in the proletariat dictatorship, what they do is they do this using education and personal development. So I think that this would be better in industrialized countries, which would be France, Great Britain, and Germany.
Hello, I am Lenin, and I'm here in Historical Treasures to talk about my contribution in Russia. I think I contributed in a gigantic way in the development of Russia, from being a monarchy to a socialist country. I am also the leader of the Bolsheviks, a revolutionary group of Russia, and I am greatly interested in the Marxist theory, and I use it in Russia. The great difference is that I molded the theory into a short-term revolution, skipping the capitalist phase and shortening the time lapse. Marx's theory started that the capitalists had to take over the state, and later on, the peasants and working class would take over the state. In my case, the modification was skipping the step and directly making the peasants and working class take over. Moreover, Marx thought this theory should be applied in industrialized countries such as France, Germany, and Great Britain. Instead, I did it in Russia, an undeveloped and backward country. Finally, Marx's idea was that the revolutionaries should count with the middle class support, but I only achieved the workers' and peasants' support. I'm Chiara Grosso, and I am a professional on the topic of Marxism and the Marx theory and its solution. As we all know, the Marx theory had different stages. Socialism was the third one, and Marx said that socialism could create an utopian country, and it will be the solution of all economic problems. First of all, socialism is a way of thinking of how people should live in a society together and work together. It can be applied to small communities and whole countries. The main goal is that no individual should own property, and all businesses and properties should be owned by everyone in the community or by the government in the case of countries. Socialism incomes is supposed to be spread more evenly. This means an increase in payments. Another goal is to create a society in which there is an economic equality with no wealthy or poor class. As we all know, socialism has different types and they can be differed into different concepts. The first one is the kind of property and the extent and the kind. And the second one is who owns that property. The owners can be the states, national governments, trade unions, workers' cooperative, like communities of workers, or something else. Some socialists have held that the realm of public property should include nearly everything that can be owned. However, there are some things like personal possessions that can be shared or owned. Others have believed that it should include only the major industries, only the major industries, and natural resources, and that private ownership of small businesses should be permitted.
Socialism in reality, how argued that a capitalist economy is more efficient than a socialist one, and it generates more wealth overall, even if the wealth is not distributed evenly. In addition, they believe socialism encourages passivity and dependence on the state for things that one could do for himself, while capitalism encourages independence and self-determination.
One word that describes Lenin, Karl Marx, and capitalism, and tweet it at History Treasure, and we will share the winners right here. Tweeting contest winners. The first one, at Jolie Pitt Fan, tweeted, "I think the best word used to describe Karl Marx is memory, because he is clearly going to be a memorable and historical figure due to his theories." At History Lover 123 tweeted, "I think the best word used to describe Lenin is passion, because everything he does and proposes is done with a lot of devotion and passion. He's very passionate about what he does and how he lives." Then, at Crash Course tweeted, "I think the best word used to describe capitalism is life, because it isn't just an economic system, it is a way of life and a lifestyle."